Welcome to my Moab Trail series, where I'll be sharing some trails that I ran during a recent trip to Moab that will showcase some of the most beautiful, rugged, and otherworldly trails in the desert. Over the next few episodes, I'll take you along for everything from slick rock and vast deserts to quiet canyon miles, showing what makes each trail unique and what it takes to run in the desert. But before we jump into the trails, I have to give a huge shout out to a partner of the channel, Koros. This trip was all about exploring, and my Koros Apex 2 Pro made it so easy to do just that. I conveniently mapped out each route ahead of time on my phone, seamlessly loaded it straight to my watch, and never had to worry about getting off course. And even with the navigation on for every trail run I did, the battery life was unreal. I didn't have to charge it once the entire trip and was able to even get a few runs in once I made it back home on that same charge. The Koros Apex 2 gave me the freedom to just run, explore, and take it all in. So thank you so much to Koros for partnering with me. You can use my code Mountain High Life to receive a free watch strap with your purchase. Again, thank you to Koros. Be sure to go check them out. All that to be said, let's jump into today's adventure. Here we are for episode 4 of my Moab mini trail running series, and I am super excited. This was the final trail run I did in Moab on this trip, and it was just so awesome, and I am so excited to share it with you today. So about a year ago, I came to Moab on my own, and I had a few trails planned out, but I had my eye on the Amasa Loop and Captain Ahab trail area. But instead of doing those trails, I opted for the Pritchett Canyon Hunter Rim Loop. But I knew when I came to Moab this time, I was not going to miss the Amasa long loop, and that is what I did on day 4. And let me tell you, this loop was better than I could have ever imagined, and I am so excited to share it with you today. So without further ado, let's jump into the final run of this mini series, the Amasa long loop. Good morning. It is about 9 o'clock, and we're heading out for our 4th and final trail run of my weekend in Moab. And we're going to be doing part of the Amasa loop, which is a loop that I've wanted to check out for about a year now. Starting out off the Cane Creek OHV Trail Road. We're looking at around 13 miles. Going to be kind of coming up over the rim, looking down at the Colorado River, and hopefully catch some pretty awesome views. Not really sure what we're looking at for terrain, if it's going to be a lot of dirt, rocky, or slick rock. So we'll see as we go. But solid loop land for this fine Monday morning. Got some cloud cover, feels good and cool. We'll take in the views and see what we've got going on today. Captain Ahab. This is a very popular mountain bike trail and really cool rock features. Some dirt, some rock, a lot of very exposed sections, which is pretty sick. We're gonna stay on this for a little bit, hopefully come out on the rim here soon. Run into a few patches of slick rock on Captain Ahab, but all fairly runnable.
really incredible views, especially as you ascend. It just gets better and better. The sun is starting to come out, which is kind of nice. This is an awesome trail. Pretty well marked, pretty easy to follow, which is always welcomed. Ahab is just so incredible. I do think I did it backwards. It is one direction, and I think I did it backwards, but I think that mostly applies to mountain bikes. And when I did run into a mountain biker, I just got out of their way. Seems like I've made it to a 4x4 road. I don't know if this is cliffhanger or not. I would have to look at a map, but there was some slick rock, a lot of technical trail on Captain Ahab, but just so incredibly beautiful. The hard thing about Moab is every time I come out here and check out a new trail, I'm like, I feel like I need to come back and revisit it because it's just so good. Really stoked with how this route is panning out so far. I'll keep you updated on how the trail's going. Almost 11 o'clock and it's getting quite warm, but we're about 6.5 miles in, so about halfway done. Pretty soon here we're gonna go check out a little overlook, a little spur on the loop I'm doing, and see what that has in store. So we made it to the little overlook, which was beautiful. I believe that overlooks Potash Road and area, so that was really cool. Had a little snack. Now I'm turning around and we'll link up with the loop. I have a feeling we'll be doing a good bit of descending back to the car, but the sun is out. It is feeling strong, so I am super grateful for my Sun Chaser hoodie. Jonji, the long-term partner of the Mountain High Life channel, makes these incredible Sun Chaser hoodies, and although I know for most people Sun Chaser hoodie season is coming to a close, but if you plan to take a trip to the desert or live in an area where it's really sunny, I would definitely recommend checking out their Sun Chaser hoodies. You can stay shielded from the sun, stay out longer, don't have to worry about sunscreen quite as much. Shout out to Jonji. Use my code Mountain High Life for 10% off your order. Love you, Jonji. So we are on the Amasa back trail now, which I assume that means we're going back to the Amasa trailhead. So less than 5 miles, and so far so good. It's definitely getting warm out here today. If you are feeling extra ambitious, you could add about 1.5 miles and go check out what's called the Pothole Arch. So the reason why I'm not doing it today is just time. Oh, did I go? I did go the wrong way. Hold on. Yeah, I did. I went the wrong way. So if you wanted to add 1.5 miles to make it about 14.5 miles, 15-ish miles, you could go check out the Pothole Arch. I was able to actually catch a glimpse of what I think was the Corona Arch. I've not been to it. It's not in Arches National Park, but I've always wanted to check it out. Okay, we got about 2 miles left. This section, after that deviation to go to the Pothole Arch, so we're on Jackson's trail now, but the trail I was just on had a lot of slick rock, but thankfully it was pretty easy to follow and to navigate, really well marked. Seems like we're going to be doing a ton of descending back towards the trailhead, but I think just over 2 miles left. All right, Monday's run done. That was ending the weekend on such a high as far as like a bigger effort goes. That ended up being 13 miles and 2,300 feet of elevation gain for me. The views were just spectacular. I really enjoyed the terrain and ended up feeling so good. Now I'm not completing the full Amasa loop because I would have had to run on the Cane Creek Road right behind me here, and there's just a lot of dust, a lot of rock and debris, and a lot of it gets kicked up, so I'm stopping at about a half mile short, although I probably could have continued. I just don't feel like it. Howdy. Point to that is, had I parked a car, I would have been hiking my butt back up to the vehicle up there, but Chandler's going to be picking me up here soon. Like I said, this is probably the best I have felt out of all my runs on this trip so far, which is freaking awesome. Finding my groove again, my trail groove, which feels really good. So I was doing some quick calculations on that run, and I think that puts us to about 46 miles of running this weekend over the last 4 days. Super solid. Although my adventure on day 3 was certainly epic, finishing under the incredible night sky, day 4 was just so magical for me. I feel like it was the perfect send-off that left me feeling super inspired, motivated, and just enchanted by the desert. And this run featured some really tough terrain, rugged conditions, a good deal of slick rock, and feeling like you are really on some remote land. The entire run, you have incredible views of the Manti La Sal Mountains and the kind of behind the rocks area, which was just spectacular the entire way. And honestly, I think every time I come to Moab, I have to hit up this loop. It was just that good, where I just felt like it was just the perfect taste, flavor, and immersive experience of running in Moab, and I just really can't say enough good things about this loop. Like I mentioned, this loop does get pretty technical, especially on the descent back towards the Jackson trailhead. There's some big rock step downs that kind of required I use all 4 extremities to be in contact with the rock in order to climb down them. It was not runnable
runnable, skippable, hikeable, like it was some scrambling. So it does get pretty technical in some parts of this route. And because of that, I just would not recommend it for beginners or people who are newer to trail running or don't have that much experience on super technical terrain or scrambling. If you have good experience and you're been on a lot of good, like longer hikes and done some scrambling, you can absolutely get this done. But I just don't want to encourage anybody to try something that is not within their experience level and put them in a compromised position. That is the last thing I want to do. So I just want to make it known that there is some very technical terrain on this route. You're also on some pretty remote land, and access to this area, if you did need any rescue or you needed to get out of there quickly, there's really not a quick way out of there. I could be wrong with that, but you're pretty well in the wilderness remote area, so do not expect to be getting out of there quickly. Plan accordingly and just be smart and do what's best for you. However, these trails and routes are really well marked. You are going to be kind of in mountain biker territory, so the slick rock is really well marked. The trail is really easy to follow. Whether it be dirt or slick rock, like I said, you're going to be able to stay on trail fairly easily because it is so well marked. And the other nice thing is it is kind of a trail system, so you can make this as long as you want, as short as you want, feature different overlooks, go out to the pothole arch, or you can bypass those things. You can really make it what you want, which I always love an area like that because I never know what people are looking for. Everybody's different. 13 miles could be a long run to somebody, where 13 miles could be, mid distance or just a whatever run to the next person. So I think it is important just to kind of have those options available to you based on where you currently stand with trail running. Now, like I've said for pretty much every video now, you won't be running into any water sources. If you are, it would be a very, very limited time of year that you would have access to these. So bring enough water, plan accordingly. Although the start and finish, you'll probably find a little bit of shade and you won't be super exposed to the sun, but for the majority of the trail, you're going to be exposed to desert conditions, meaning strong sun, sand, wind, dry air. So make sure you have good sun protection, sunscreen, chapstick, and you're ready for a few hours out in the desert. And like I said, this area is very popular with mountain biking. So I know I've said it in a few of my other videos within the series. If you see a mountain biker and they're coming down a technical rock section, it can be very difficult for them to stop abruptly or quickly to let you by. Additionally, it can be kind of difficult for them to stop in a technical section, and actually be pretty dangerous for them to try to stop on a rock roll or slick rock abruptly. Although I know what I'm about to say doesn't follow the law of trail where pedestrians have the right of way, it's still a lot easier for us to get out of the way of a mountain biker than it is for them to always let us by. It can actually impose danger on them sometimes, so just be conscious of that. Wherever the trail allows, if you can and it's safe for you, perhaps let the mountain biker by. I'm just saying that it's just like I said in other videos, just be a friend to all on when you're out on trail. Be a good representation of the trail running community. We don't want to be assholes, so where you can let people by, just keep that in mind. It's a little bit hazardous and dangerous and difficult for mountain bikers to stop sometimes. The Amasa area is absolutely incredible and worth checking out, and really does offer some insanely epic trails that I hope everyone who seeks them has the chance to check out one day. And although the trails are indeed challenging, I think that if you work your way up with trail experience and have a good GPS watch, you can find an epic adventure in this area. And with that being said, that is going to wrap up the final trail day of my Moab mini series. I do have one more video coming in this series where I'm going to be discussing just kind of my general tips, tricks, and things to know when running in the desert, what to keep in mind when it comes to choosing what footwear you're going to be using for the day, what to bring in your pack, how much time to expect for trail runs, what apparel to wear, different logistics, and things of that nature. So I think that is going to hopefully be really valuable to somebody out there. So if you don't want to miss it, consider subscribing. But that is going to do it for episode 4 of my Moab Trail series. So that is going to do it for today's episode. I do anticipate that throughout this series, I will be hopefully uploading 2 videos a week. So if you care to see more of the trails and adventures I embarked on during my time in Moab, consider subscribing. I'll also put a link to the route featured in today's video down in the description, as well as a pinned comment. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Any thoughts, questions, or concerns, you can leave it in the comments down below. Thank you again to Jonji and Koros for being partners of the Mountain High Life channel. Go give them some love, check them out. Links will be down in the description. And finally, thank you for sharing your time with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you get out on some trail today, and I'll see you in my next Moab adventure in my Moab mini series. Thanks for watching. Bye.